Welcome to the Ace Ride With Us podcast, presented by the American Coaster Enthusiasts, the world's largest ride enthusiast organization dedicated to the appreciation, promotion, and preservation of roller coasters around the globe. Please keep your hands and feet inside the podcast at all times as we welcome in your host from CoasterCon 46 in California.
Hello, enthusiasts! I'm your Ace Ride With Us podcast host, Jessica Gardner, and we are coming to you from CoasterCon 46 at California's Great America. It's day 3, and it's already been an incredible week. Behind-the-scenes tours, group meetups, how about that rubber ducky regatta? And, of course, morning and evening ERT on these incredible coasters like Railblazer and Gold Striker. Just a fun question here. How many people think they've gotten more than 10 rides on one roller coaster over these past 3 days? Right here, yeah? How about 20 rides? 30? I see someone with their hand. Yell it out. How many times have you ridden something?
50 on Gold Striker.
50 on Gold Striker. That's amazing. And even more importantly, everybody raise your hand if you've met some new people, made some new friends. Even better. Because really that's what it's all about, right? And it's also about the admiration that we have for this park. California's Great America has so much history. And now we are so fortunate that we have a special presentation from 3 people who know a lot about it. But before I introduce them, I'm just going to ask for audio purposes, because we are recording and because we have a limited time, that nobody yell out questions or comments during this presentation. We are hoping to have some time for questions at the end, so please save it for that. And now let's give a warm Ace welcome to our guests who are here right now with us from California's Great America. Barbara Lee Granter, the Vice President and General Manager, and Bill Mullen, Park Operations Manager for California's Great America.
Thank you very much, Jessica. We really appreciate this. So it sounds like you guys are having a good time here at Great America, yes? I will tell you, when my communications manager told me that I needed to do a history of the park, I said, okay, I've worked here for less than 3 years, so I think some of you may know an awful lot more about Great America than I do. But what I decided to do was to invite another guest who's on our screen, who's going to talk to you, who has a lot more history with this park. But just so you know, been with the company, this is my 41st season with the company. So I have a question. When I asked Bill this, I said, do you remember Taft Broadcasting? Do you go back that far? See, somebody does. And Bill said, Barb, I wasn't born yet. So this all started when I was in my 20s with Taft Broadcasting, and I started at Canada's Wonderland. I am Canadian and American. I do say out and about. So how about Leviathan, huh? Yes. It wasn't there when I left, but anyway, I started out when we were Taft Broadcasting, and Taft Broadcasting was given an opportunity to buy up some more radio and television stations when they changed some regulations in the United States, and they sold the theme park arm to the group of people who were actually operating it. Does anyone remember what that company was called? Kiko, King's Entertainment Company. So that's when I joined, was when it was Kiko, and Kiko, it was still privately owned in Kiko when this park was purchased, when Marriott sold it. So that's how I tag into this, and now I would like to introduce one of our creative producers from XDS, which is our creative arm of the company, and that's Clayton Lawrence, and he's sitting in Charlotte at the moment, and he was here for years and years and has very kindly put together a history of the park based based solely on rides.
Yeah, thank you guys for having me. I am Clayton Lawrence. Sitting here in our Charlotte corporate office. I'm in my actual office. I like to say I'm 3 hours into the future. So I'm very honored to have been asked to do this. I was part of CoasterCon 2013 and got to do programming and met a lot of friends, and just think this is such a great event, and really jealous I'm not there with you guys, but we figured out how you guys are sitting in Silicon Valley, so we figured out how to patch me in. So a little bit about my upbringing and why Great America is so special to me is that 20 years ago, somehow it's been 20 seasons, I started in 2004 as a lifeguard at Great America, and I grew up going to the park, grew up going with my mom, loved all the rides, and then doing theater in the Bay Area, I realized, wait a second, I love Great America and coasters and rides, but I love entertainment as well. And so I was able to merge those two worlds together at my home park that I'm very proud of. And I just over the years became a collector of information at the park. I worked my way through some entertainment. I was offerings. I was a technician, and I was able to, in 2012, be the park's entertainment manager. And I got to help be creative director and producer for a lot of different shows and entertainment and festival and events, and at the same time work on some restoration projects for the park. So very excited to be here with you guys today. I figured, Great America, part of the history are the different owners, and Barb kind of gave a mention of those. So I figured it only made sense to do the Great America Eras Tour, starting with the Marriott era. So this, for those of you who don't know how the park originated, in 1976, the Marriott Corporation actually designed two Great Americas and built two Great Americas, one in Santa Clara, where you're at, and one in Gurnee, Illinois. There was a third park that was planned, but in Washington, D.C., and it was going to open at the same time, but that project never ended up happening. So the two Marriott's Great Americas were built and almost identical to each other. They opened 2 months apart from each other, but Great America in Santa Clara was the first one. In the 70s, a lot of theme park entrepreneurs, there was a theme park boom, and a lot of it was due to the success of Disneyland. And so there were entrepreneurs across the country building theme parks. For Marriott specifically, they were in the hotel and hospitality leisure resort space, and they wanted to diversify their portfolio. So they built these two parks and a hotel. So the idea was that you can create these mini staycations vacations that were kind of a weekend sort of thing. So that was all led by Bill Marriott, or J.W. Bill Marriott Jr., and he hired a team of designers led by designer Randolph. They set out across the country, and they came across a theme early on, which was Americana. They wanted to bring parts of the country together throughout themed lands. So they went scouting all over for architecture and experiences that they can infuse into this park. Then they started the design process by sketching and mapping and procuring the land. And then they went and built an actual model of the park and just followed that design process. Great America and when I talk about Great America moving forward, it'll be your guys' Great America you're sitting in right now. So Great America was built on an orchard. It was, I believe, a peach or pear orchard. But it was an orchard that they purchased, and they started to map it out. And they wanted to, again, celebrate American history and open it up in time in 1976 for the nation's bicentennial. With the overarching Americana theme in mind, they created authentic atmosphere via architecture and artifacts and theming the attractions. And the park was broken up initially into 6 original themed lands, which were organized in what was referred to as a dual loop, named after Randolph. That runs clockwise around the perimeter. And working at Great America, I want to give him a big hug if I ever got the luxury of meeting him, because he created the park with a center service road. So you can access back of house through the center service corridor that allows us to get from one side of the park to another rather quickly. And so he was very innovative in that thinking. But the park was broken into 6 original themed areas. So you first walked into Carousel Plaza, which has our famed double-decker carousel, and I'll get to that in a little bit. Hometown Square, which is based on the 20th century small towns of the Midwest. And then you moved into the Great Midwest Livestock Exposition, which was later just shortened to County Fair. Then they created Yukon Territory, which resembled a logging camp in the Canadian Yukon. They were actually in their tours inspired by the Canadian Yukon, which is ironic given the current general manager at the park. Yankee Harbor was the next area. That was inspired by 19th century New England port, inspired by Cape Cod. And then finally, Orleans Place, modeled after the French Quarter of New Orleans. Sorry, I see in my note now, it was a pear orchard in Santa Clara. Opening day was on March 20th, 1976. And admission was $7.95 for adults 12 and up, and $6.95 for children. And the park opened with 1,500 employees. Here, this is one of my favorite photos because this is, at the time, Mayor Gilmore, Gary Gilmore and his wife, Mrs. Gilmore, J.W. Marriott, Bill Marriott, who helped get this project going. And what's fun about this picture is that Mr. and Mrs. Gilmore's daughter, Lisa Gilmore, is the current mayor of Santa Clara right now. She grew up at the park and grew up around Great America, and now she gets to be a part of it as the mayor of Santa Clara. Big success, lots of excitement. There were a lot of entertainment offerings, and I'll touch on that in a second. But these are just some of the photos. This is construction of the park. Shout out to GreatAmericaParks.com, who helped me seal a lot of these photos to bring to you today. But there was just a lot of excitement and a lot of SoCal residents coming, staying at the Marriott Hotel, which was built on the property. And it was just really a world-class theme park that had a lot of unique and innovative, at the time, state-of-the-art attractions. But what was really interesting and compelling was that they brought in a lot of entertainment as well. So they built the structures and the buildings and the ride product, and then they filled in all of the gaps by utilizing entertainment and shows. Of course, we have our Carousel Columbia, or Columbia Carousel. I think that we've all accepted that you could say it either way. And it is California's Great America in Santa Clara. It is the tallest double-decker carousel in the world. Its sister over in Gurnee, Illinois is 1 foot shorter than the one at Great America. So the park still maintains the world's tallest double-decker carousel by 101 feet. All of the horses were inspired by famous carousel horses by manufacturers, and it really creates a special entrance into the park that is one of a kind. I believe Barb, or somewhere in the journey, will talk about Great America's current plans and the restoration and the exciting work that's been happening on the carousel. Entertainment, like I mentioned, was a very, very big thing. It was very popular. Each land had lots of entertainment, roaming acts, musical acts, marching bands, parades, and it was a way to entertain the masses because the park hadn't developed with all of the rides that it has currently. So what's fun for me as the entertainment manager is that when I would do auditions and hire performers over the years I've been there, they would say that their parents actually performed in shows or played an instrument. And so it was fun to see a next generation come through the live entertainment. And now during 1976 and 84, I'm going to drum up some memories by showing you guys the rides that were put in and their dates. So we have Carousel Columbia, which was a chance ride product from 1976 to present. A merry-go-round, where Drop Tower is currently, that was a chance ride merry-go-round. Barney Oldfield Speedway was Air Development just up the road. Yukon Yahoo and the Berserker, which is still in operation today, Schwarzkopf. Bottoms Up, classic ride from Chance. We got the Buzzy Bee, which was redone into Snoopy Space Race, which is in Planet Snoopy currently. The Cajun Carpet, which was a Huss flying carpet ride. The Character Carousel, which is still in Planet Snoopy now. It was turned into Cartoon Carousel and then has been restored back to a Character Carousel. There was a Eli Bridge Ferris wheel, and then Fiddler's Fling, which is Centrifuge at the park currently. Schwarzkopf, the Gulf Coaster, a kid's ride, and then we have the Hilltopper, the Lobster, Loggers Run by Air Development, Orleans Orbit, still in operation, Rouladage, Delta Flyer and Eagle's Flight, still in operation, and Skyworld Triple Wheel, the original version of the Demon, turn of the century, and the Great America Scenic Railway, Triple Play, which was my favorite as a kid growing up, Hometown and Orleans Street Railway that went from Hometown Square to Orleans Place. Willard's Wizard, named after John Willard, J.W. Marriott. The Yankee Clipper scared me as a kid. It went straight down instead of have a little hump. Freaked me out. Tidal Wave, which then I moved into Grease Lightning towards the latter part of its operation. Star Tower, which was Sky Trek when it first opened. And then the Demon, which was reimagined turn of the century. And I saw lots of social media posts that you guys got to walk it and see the spiders up close. The Edge, Intamin Freefall, and then that moves us into the Kiko era, King's Entertainment Company. So the Marriotts decided to part ways from the business, and they decided to sell the park to Santa Clara, the city, who then brought in King's Entertainment Co. And that's when Great America became part of Canada's Wonderland, King's Dominion, King's Island, and then eventually Carowinds. Here's what the park looked like. The lands all stayed pretty much the same, but the attractions that came into this era. the Kings Parks, because of radio broadcasting and their access to musical performers, and being that there wasn't many concert venues in the Bay Area at the time, the Redwood Amphitheater came into view and had many musical acts throughout the years. Weird Al had a stint. He came every summer for a couple of years. And we use it now for special events in group sale days. The Grizzly Revolution, which became the Endeavor, HMB Endeavor, when we created Boomerang Bay. Blue Streak, which is Woodstock Express. It's funny to see GoPros back in the day. It's quite the rig on that coaster. Rip Roaring Rapids, super fun. Skyhawk. This was the one that my brother tricked me and said, "Oh, it doesn't go upside down," and then he flipped the switch and we barrel rolled for like 3 minutes straight. So, Whitewater Falls still in operation, still fun. Love to stand on that bridge and get soaked. The Vortex, which was a B&M, it was one of the prototypes, stand-up coaster. And then we moved into the Paramount era, which at this point, Paramount Pictures bought King's Entertainment, or they merged, and then the park started to, Paramount was owned by Viacom, which had a slew of IPs like Nickelodeon and MTV and all those fun brands. And so the attractions started to go from themed lands to like the Universal model per attraction to help support movie marketing and the IPs that the Paramount Pictures had. So here's kind of the first map. Of course, Top Gun, which was themed right after the movie, a very popular B&M. It was also one of the originals, renamed to Flight Deck in its current. AFX Theater, my dad made me wait 4 hours to see the Days of Thunder movie, and then we waited another 2 hours because he wanted to do it again. Nickelodeon Splat City, Nick Central, a huge big deal for the park. It was a whole land themed to Nickelodeon where you can get slimed. You can be in a stage show like Double Dare and play games to throw pie at your parents, and super popular, and started to bring in characters such as Rugrats and Dora the Explorer over the years. Drop Zone and Drop Tower came into our lives. Extreme Skyflyer. We got Invertigo, which it's super fun, and later rehomed to Dorney Park as the Stinger. And then up until this point, we were still a little bit of Hanna-Barbera in the Kidsville area. So that was rebranded and created. Stealth, the world's first flying coaster, made its debut at Great America. And then Psycho Mouse came to bring in family thrills. Error development version. Celebration Swings came into the newer land of the park, Celebration Plaza. This was a re-gifted ride from Carowinds when it got to the park. Thunder Raceway. And then Flying Eagles, which I've seen some of you professionals on these, and it scares me, and I'm jealous that you guys can make it so thrilling. And then we got Delirium, and then we returned the gift to Carowinds. They gave us a swing ride, and we gave them Stealth. And we made way for the newest land and major upgrade in terms of, or major investment in the park, which was a water park where you can come into Great America with your single day ticket or season pass and get a water park for free. So that debuted, and that's where I would stand in 2004 and tell people, hey, Stealth is over at Carowinds, but behind me, there's an awesome water park coming. Then in 2005, we expanded into phase 2. So that brought us Lazy River and a lagoon and some more slides. Fun fact, the slides that are in the park came in phase 2. There's 2 of them. They were rehomed from the Antica water slides. Then we got a Zamperla disco coaster, and it was themed to Survivor and then later Tiki Twirl, but it was themed to the successful TV show. And Media Day, we had some of the Survivor contestants and fun. And it was an interactive ride because you had to do a tribal chant and stuff to get folks wet. Then, with the popularity of Boomerang Bay, we expanded into Boomerang Bay Phase 3, which brought a wave pool, the largest in the area. And in 2007, CBS purchased Viacom and then decided to break off the Paramount Parks from their business model. And so Cedar Fair came in and purchased the 5 Paramount Parks. And then we enter our 2007 to present era. We brought in Firefall. This was a rehomed gift from Geauga Lake. This was, I believe, the very first top spin, Huss top spin. This model actually was a traveling version of it. So it was originally on a trailer, and if you ever looked at the ride, you could see the foundations were offset because of that. But we wanted to go big, and the little lake in front and the volcano shot fire, and we knew that there would be more guests wanting to watch it than to risk their lunch on it. So we made show elements on it. Planet Snoopy, so our brand IP for our families, we got the Peanuts Gang and Snoopy, and rebranded Kidsville and Nickelodeon Central into all Planet Snoopy. Gold Striker was finally built after years of planning, and is the amazing attraction it is still today. We wanted to do something completely different and test the market in the video game era because of we knew gaming in the Bay Area was becoming a big deal. And so we built Mass Effect, which has a little fun fact about this. The video screen in that theater is the world's largest 3D video screen, LED video screen, meaning every other pixel has a filter over it that gives you that 3D and holographic imagery. So make sure to check this out. But that video wall actually was designed and built and delivered to Michael Jackson's This Is It tour. And it was he was going to have the first technology. Unfortunately, that show never happened. So it was put in a box, and then we met with some designers who knew about it, and we pulled it into our attraction. And it is still the coolest video wall I've seen to date out in the market. Then in 2021, we rebranded. We went from an Australian theme park in the middle of Great America to a quirky seaside town of South Bay Shores, and rebranded, expanded, and created a new experience there. And then, of course, in 2018, Railblazer was a first of its kind prototype. Texas Six Flags also got one. But we are really excited to introduce this product to the park, and it just was a really exciting addition. Then to bring back some classics to the park, to fill in some of the areas we're lacking, Liberty Twirler gives that classic theme park feel back to the 50s area, the newly rethemed 50s area. Back in the county fair area, Redwood Rally was really a story-driven reimagination of Barney Oldfield's, and that was a lot of fun to work on with the park because we wanted to make sure it told the story of the California coastline, and there's some familiar nods to the region. So very excited about that. And then the introduction of the Zamperla Pacific gliders. Again, we wanted to make sure we had enough family product in the right areas so that the thrill seekers and then the pint-sized thrill seekers could all enjoy the new NorCal County Fair. And that brings us to the present, which the park is focused on new seasonal events and experiences, because that all traces back to the Marriott days of making sure that there was a well-rounded day of entertainment and events and reasons to visit the park throughout the year. And GreatAmericaParks.com is a great resource. It has a ton of fun information and photos of the park. So with that, I say thank you and have a great CoasterCon. I think there might be a question and answer round. I'll stick around, but really excited that you guys are there at the park, and I really appreciate you guys letting me walk you through the quick history of the Eras Tour.
Clayton, I can't thank you enough for doing that. You certainly know a tremendous amount about the company. I think I'll turn to Jessica because I have a feeling that we're running out of time. So I'm going to turn this back over to Jessica. But for questions and answers, Bill and I will hang out afterward if there's something that you would like to do.
I think we have some time. If anybody has a question, you want to come up to one of the microphones over here, we'll get you in, but I'll get us kicked off and started here. Tell us about like an average day in the life of you. What is a vice president of a park here at California's Great America? What do you do?
Well, I would say the first thing that I would have to say is since the pandemic, with the concept of people working from home, you can't run a theme park from home. It doesn't work. You really have to be here. So I would say the first thing is you're pretty much here. I know some of you have been doing tours with my team. So I've got a team that several of them have been here as long as you have. So they were in at 6 to make sure things were being done, and we're all here at 11 o'clock at night, right, Bill? In order to make sure everything's running, and that's sort of what the day is like. It depends on what ride decides to break and what our guests ask for, but we're all out there with the crowds. I enjoy it very much because it's a different day every day.
Yeah. We know a little bit about the future of what is happening with the park, but what would you say in terms of like the next few years? What are you all going to be focused on?
Well, I think you all probably, those of you that are watching the news, know that there was a press release this morning. So if you go on to the Cedar Fair website, you can see that we believe that the merger with Six Flags will happen on July 1st. That was announced, so I'm not going to go into any of that because I'm not privy to a lot of that, but if you go online right now, you will see a couple of press releases that came out today, so that will give you some idea. I would say our lives are going to be very exciting for the next 5 years as we develop. Very happy to say that our stock will still be traded under FUN because that's who we are, and that it'll also show you who's going to be operating the park, which is the team that I grew up with, so that's pretty exciting. I would say until that goes through, I don't know if I can answer that.
All right, understood completely. Didn't even know about the press release, so thanks for letting me know. I got to read that. I would just say, let's close us out just by saying to all of us enthusiasts here and people who love California's Great America, what do you want to say to them? What do you want them to know?
I think there's a thank you involved to all of our fans and those people that are as excited about these sorts of properties. This business is mature now, so it's pretty exciting to watch where it started. I love talking to Clayton because he's a generation behind me, and we've had a lot of opportunities to work together. So it's really important that the fans support us as we go on in time. So thank you very much for being who you are.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Can we give them a warm ace? Thank you, everybody. And to Clayton back home, thank you for that great presentation. It was wonderful to have you here in spirit and on screen. We appreciate you. You're always wonderful. And to Barb and Bill as well. We learned so much today. And to everybody here, thank you all for joining us this afternoon. For those of you listening at home and not at CoasterCon, make sure you pay attention to all of ACE's social media and California's Great America's social media and publications for more coverage and footage from this week. And of course, the ACE Ride With Us podcast. And hey, if you are listening and you haven't joined ACE yet, what are you waiting for? Check out ridewithace.com for more information. Thanks for listening. We hope you get to ride.
Ride With Us is produced by the American Coaster Enthusiasts, a registered 501c3 organization. Visit ridewithace.com for additional information, and we will see you at the parks.